You know that feeling when your alarm goes off on a Monday morning and your entire body just refuses? That heaviness in your chest when you realize you have 5 more days before you get 2 back. That quiet, suffocating feeling that this is just it. This is your life. Trade your time, get your paycheck, pay your bills, repeat until you're too old to enjoy any of it. I lived inside that feeling for years. Not just occasionally. Every single day. And what made it worse was that nobody around me was talking about it. Everyone was just performing. Pretending the exhaustion was normal. Pretending that needing a vacation from your life was just part of being an adult. I started wondering if I was broken. If something was wrong with me for wanting more than a salary and a 2-week holiday every year. Here's what nobody tells you when you're grinding away at a job that drains you. The money you earn with your time is the most fragile kind of money there is. The second you stop showing up, it stops coming in. Every single paycheck is conditional on your physical presence, your energy, your compliance. You are not building anything. You are renting yourself out, hour by hour, and the moment you get sick, burned out, or simply done, the income disappears completely. That realization changed everything for me. And if you are watching this right now and something inside you is nodding along, then keep watching. Because I am going to break down exactly how dividend investing quietly replaced a full-time income. In plain language that anyone can understand, with no financial jargon, no complicated formulas, and no fluff. But before I go any deeper, I want to mention something important. Everything I am going to share with you today is part of a larger system, a real structured approach to building dividend income that we have put together in a program linked down in the video description. Most people who find this video will keep watching, feel inspired, then go back to their normal routine and do nothing. They will be in the exact same position 1 year from now. The few who actually take action are the ones who use a proven roadmap instead of trying to figure it all out alone. The link is below. But first, let me give you the full picture. Because you deserve to understand the why before the how. So let me take you back to what life looks like before any of this clicks. You wake up tired, you go to work tired, you come home with just enough energy to eat something and stare at a screen before doing it all over again. Your weekends feel like a race to recover from the week. You keep telling yourself things will slow down soon, that you will start saving more next month, that next year will be different, but next year comes and it looks exactly like this year, just more expensive. Meanwhile, deep down there is this quiet voice asking a question you are almost afraid to answer. What if there was another way? Not a get-rich-quick scheme, not a lottery ticket, not some viral side hustle that takes over your evenings and your weekends. A real, boring, beautiful way to have money come to you regularly without you having to trade every hour of your day to earn it. That is what dividends are. And I want to explain this in the simplest possible way. When you buy shares of a company, you become a part owner of that business. A tiny sliver of ownership, but ownership nonetheless. Many companies, especially large, stable, well-established ones, take a portion of their profits and distribute that money back to their shareholders on a regular basis. That distribution is called a dividend. Think of it like owning a small piece of a rental property. Every month a tenant pays rent. As the owner, you receive a cut of that rent whether you showed up that day or not. Whether you slept in or went on vacation or spent the morning watching the sunrise, the money comes to you because you own the asset, not because you did the labor. Now here is where it gets emotionally real. The first time a dividend payment landed in an account, it was small, genuinely tiny, almost laughably small. But it did not matter how small it was. What mattered was what it represented. It was proof. Actual numerical, real-world proof that money could be earned without trading time for it. That was the moment the old story about how income works started to crack. And that crack turned into a canyon over time. Let me give you a simple picture of how this compounds. Imagine you invest a certain amount of money into dividend-paying stocks. Those stocks pay you a percentage of your investment back every year in dividends. You do not spend those dividends. You reinvest them. You buy more shares. Now those new shares also pay dividends, which you also reinvest. This creates what is called a compounding effect. Your dividend income grows not just because you are adding money, but because your existing dividends are generating more dividends. It is a machine that feeds itself. People who have been studying wealth creation for decades consistently point to this compounding mechanism as one of the most powerful forces available to everyday investors. Not hedge funds, not billionaires, everyday people who started small, stayed consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting. And time is the thing most people waste. Not because they are lazy, because nobody ever showed them what time in the market actually does. Instead of putting their money to work, they let it sit in a savings account earning almost nothing while inflation quietly eats it alive. Year after year their purchasing power shrinks, while the people who understood dividends watch their passive income quietly grow. Here is the disqualifier you need to hear right now. This path is absolutely not for someone who is looking for fast money. It is not for someone who wants to double their portfolio in 3 months. If that is what you are after, this will disappoint you and you will probably quit before the magic happens. Dividend investing rewards patience, consistency, and people who are willing to think in years instead of days. But if you are someone who is exhausted by trading your time for money, if you are someone who wants to build something real and lasting, if you are someone who is tired of the volatility of chasing trends and just wants a reliable, growing income stream that does not require you to babysit it every hour of the day, then this is exactly what you have been looking for. Here is what makes this path different from almost every other investment strategy people talk about. Most strategies depend on you being right. You buy a stock hoping it goes up, you sell before it crashes, you try to time the market, you guess. And the data is brutally clear on this. The overwhelming majority of people who try to time the market, even professionals managing enormous funds, consistently underperform a simple buy and hold approach over the long run. The game of trying to be clever is one most people lose. Dividend investing flips the frame entirely. You are not waiting for the price to go up to make money. You are collecting income while you wait. The dividends keep coming whether the market is up, down, or sideways. The companies that have been paying dividends consistently for decades, through recessions, through market crashes, through global crises, have demonstrated a kind of resilience that is genuinely rare. Their ability to keep paying shareholders is backed by real revenue, real products, and real demand. There is something deeply stabilizing about that, emotionally and financially. Now let me talk about the cost of not starting, because this is where most people go wrong. They think waiting a little longer is neutral. It is not. Every month you are not invested is a month your money is not compounding. Every year you delay is a year of dividend growth you will never get back. The mathematics of compounding is unforgiving in both directions. It rewards the early, and it quietly punishes the patient who never begins. People who started building dividend portfolios 10 years ago are in a completely different financial reality today. Not because they were smarter, not because they had more money, because they started. The gap between where they are and where someone starting today will be in 10 years is not just about money. It is about time freedom. It is about choices. It is about waking up without an alarm, not because you won the lottery, but because you built something that pays you whether you work or not. That is the life on the other side of this. And yes, it requires learning. It requires some upfront time to understand which dividend stocks are worth holding, how to evaluate a company's payout history, how to recognize red flags and green flags, and how to build a portfolio that is diversified enough to be stable but focused enough to actually grow. This is not something you have to figure out alone. There is a structure to it, a repeatable process that people who have already done this have refined over years of real experience. That is exactly what the program in the description is built around. Condensed, practical, step-by-step guidance so you are not spending years making expensive mistakes that people before you already made and already learned from. It is not about getting rich quick, it is about getting it right. Here is what I want you to feel in this moment. Not urgency for urgency's sake, real clarity. You already know whether you are tired of the cycle you are in. You already know whether you have been telling yourself that you will start figuring this out someday. And somewhere inside you, you know that someday is a trap. Someday has no date. Someday turns into a decade faster than anyone believes it will. The people who are going to change their financial reality are the ones who decide today that they are done waiting for a perfect moment that is never coming. They take the first step with what they have, where they are, and they trust the process. If you are still here watching this, you are not the kind of person who gives up early. You are the kind of person who wants to understand things deeply before they commit. And that quality, that patience, that desire to actually understand rather than just act impulsively, is genuinely the most important trait a dividend investor can have. The program linked in the description below is the next logical step. It was built for exactly the person you are right now. Someone who gets it conceptually, who feels the pull of what is possible, but who wants a clear, structured path forward instead of piecing it together from scattered YouTube videos and Reddit threads. The people who have followed this process and stayed consistent are no longer asking when things will change. They already changed. The question is whether you are ready to join them or whether you will keep watching other people build the life you want while yours stays exactly the same. The link is below. The decision is yours. But time is the one thing no one gets back.